Have you guys seen the rumors floating around that your favorite esports organization is possibly being sold? If so, if you guys are fans of OpTic or Obey, or you might be a fan of Immortals and wondering what the hell is going on with all of this is the right video for you. Hey guys, what's going on? It's Quad here, and today I'm going to bring you a brand new video talking about the potential sale of Infinite Esports, the parent company of OpTic Gaming and the Obey Alliance, to Immortals. And so what all is happening with this is over the last few days, Immortals has looked more and more like the buyer of Infinite, and what could possibly happen with that is what we're going to be talking about in this video. So basically, to break it all down before we go into all of the scenarios, what could happen. OpTic was originally sold to Infinite by Hector Rodriguez, or Hex as you guys know him. He was able to keep a portion of the company, but he is not the majority owner, so he does not, control what happens with it. That is ran by Infinite. And with the Obey Alliance, they are also owned by Infinite at the time. So they are also, going to possibly be changing ownership. And so we don't really know exactly what's going to be happening with either of those organizations. But in this video, we're going to be talking about all of those possible scenarios. So without further ado, let's go ahead and jump into the list that I made over here. So the first thing that could possibly be happening, and this is what most of you guys are going to be wanting, is just a pure ownership change. So this means that, just like when Hex sold OpTic over to Infinite could just go ahead and sell it over to Immortals, and Immortals could just keep all of it branded as is. Now, even with that, Immortals would be forced to be able to get rid of some of their properties, especially their Overwatch teams. They would have to either get rid of the Valiant or the Outlaws, just because of the fact that they cannot own two teams at the same time. And then along with that, it would be very likely that they would end up getting rid of either the OpTic CSGO team or MIBR, and it would probably be more likely that they would get rid of the OpTic CSGO team, since MIBR is such a notable roster. Now, there's a chance that they could have multiple teams with that, because it's not against any rules or anything, but it's not really, to the best interest to have multiple teams. And then with this scenario, that would just have everything else staying the same. OpTic, everything that is OpTic outside of the teams I mentioned, they would just keep those as OpTic, they would keep the content as OpTic, and they would keep Obey as Obey. And then the second scenario that could possibly happen would be them rebranding all the esports except for COD. And obviously COD would have to be rebranded no matter what, because they're going to the franchise seasons, but they could possibly keep the esports brand for COD. Just, with that new rebrand, they could make it like the Los Angeles OpTic, or, the Los Angeles Green Wall, something of that nature. And so they could still keep it like themed around OpTic. And then they could have all the other esports rebranded to Immortals, but they could also just keep the content as is with both OpTic and Obey. Now, this would be a little bit more likely, because it's probably not going to be too likely for the pure ownership change, but we don't know what's going to happen. That's the main thing with this, because obviously the main thing that Immortals would want to do is they want to keep as much value as possible, and we know how valuable the content side of OpTic is, so they probably most likely want to keep that intact, at least in my opinion. Then after that, obviously it would basically just be the exact same thing, just having the COD be rebranded to Immortals also, but they would still keep the content side completely intact. Now, this one could possibly happen as well. I see that those two are like some of the more likely scenarios. And then after that, I believe that we could see there be merged content. So the same thing, but they merge Obey and OpTic together. And I'm not even sure if Immortals has any content side, but it's very minimal if they do. They would just go ahead and merge all of those together and still have it under the OpTic name, because everyone knows how big OpTic is as a content org. So I don't see OpTic content going anywhere. That would be very unwise of Immortals to do with the sale, but we don't really know what's going to be happening with that. And then the next scenario that we have would be just a full-on rebrand, keeping all of the states that they have other than the two that I mentioned in the first one, and then just having them all branded under Immortals. Now, this could be likely, but I don't think it would be the most wise one for them. But it would still like be the same thing, as long as they can hold on to people. But the big thing with this sale is I wonder, like, it's going to be weird to see what happens. We don't know what's going to happen with Hex. We don't know what's going to happen with, Hitch, pretty much all of the content guys. Now, the guys that are under their contracts and stuff like that, they're obviously going to be staying with the team. But the guys that are, up in the air, we don't really know what's going to happen with them. And so the last one would be a rebrand without content. And this means that they would either sell off the content side and just, rebrand all of it to Immortals with the esports, and then just sell OpTic maybe back to Hex. Now this probably wouldn't be that bad of an idea, or they, might sell it off to someone else, and then, it would allow them to still keep the OpTic name and just having, the different ownership or, whatever. And this could be one of the likely scenarios as well. It's pretty much all of these scenarios are likely. That's why I made this list. I feel like all of them could happen. It's going to depend on what all happens. I heard that Hex is having a meeting with the Immortals team to try to, see what they can do. They're going to go probably over all these possibilities. And with this last one, if it does have OpTic and Obey end up just, dissolving, it'll be interesting to see what happens, because I believe, I've mentioned this as my opinion on social media, I believe that if they do try to hold on to Hex and he does not want a part of it, I think that there probably would be some type of clause within the agreement that won't allow him to go and take all of the content and jump ship over to 100 Thieves. Now, if they completely defuse the team, then obviously they would be, free to go wherever they want. But I've seen a lot of people trying to say that, OpTic can just hop over to 100 Thieves, and with the sale of the organization, they're going to try to hold on to as much value as they can. So I don't really see that happening unless, as I'm already said, I'm going to say it again, unless they defuse the team completely and leave them free to go wherever they want. Now, these are all the possible scenarios that I came up with. If you guys see any possible scenarios that could also happen, definitely leave those down in the comments. I want to see all of them that you guys have. Let me know which one you think is the most likely, which one you guys want to see the most. I'm pretty sure that most of you guys would want to just see the pure ownership change, and that's what I'm really hoping for, because I grew on OpTic. OpTic was what gave me motivation to become a part of this community. My first montage that I ever watched was Hex's MW2 free-for-all montage, and as you guys can see with my channel, I, took a lot of that and then put it into my own content. And if you guys do enjoy my content, I do post somewhat regularly on YouTube, and I stream regularly on Twitch, and I post on, Twitter, Instagram, all of that stuff. So that'll be all down in the description below if you guys want to check out any of that. It's always insanely appreciated. If you guys enjoy this video, definitely leave a like. Let me know what you enjoyed about it, and if you guys want to see future videos from the channel, definitely drop that subscription. And yeah, I appreciate you guys stopping by and checking out this video. Hopefully everything does work out for the best for OpTic. I think that's what all of us are hoping for. And anyways, this has been Quad. I'll see y'all later. Peace.